Unlock the king 2, third video, puzzles 31 to 40. So we have more examples of those special squares, like portals or black hole squares. Okay, so move the king here, and we're gonna have to move these knights too. Okay, there you go, the first one, the second, and finally the bishop. Puzzle 32, another example of those special squares, and we are going to occupy them with the knights in order to clear diagonals. And we're gonna have to move this bishop here and some other knights. Okay, so let's start moving this. There we go, it transported to the other side. One free square here. Now this bishop has to move. So before we can move them, we're gonna have to displace this knight. There we go. And there is another knight that we're gonna have to move, this one, to the other side, and finally the bishop to clear the diagonal. Puzzle 33, another very good example of how these special squares work. So we're gonna have to move the king through the portals, and it's gonna move automatically. But first we have to move this knight. Okay, so this one, there you go. The kings are there. Now we have to clear way. Two knights are on the way. Before we can move them, we're gonna move this rook and the other knight. Okay, and there we go. That's it. Puzzle 34. It looks complicated, and in the middle especially because there are too many pieces. This is the path the king should take, but we are going to take advantage of these knights and the portals to take a shortcut. Okay? So this knight has to move. We're going to keep this here for now. So let's move this one. We're going to use the bishop and the queen too. Okay. Now we have to move some of the pieces back, and this is one of the possible ways for the king to get to the special square. So let's move the knight back. We have room for the bishop. Okay, can almost see the way for the king, and there are many possible solutions here. This is the one I recorded, so move the rook. Okay, we exchanged pieces, but we're gonna clear away by moving the queen and finally the knight. Puzzle 35. This is something interesting. It shows now that the game is using the other faces of the cubes. Okay, so puzzle 36. This is a more interesting example. The king has to move to the other plane. So first, I change the camera. It's gonna be something absolute in the next videos. So move the rook to the other side there, past the black hole squares. Okay, and finally we have to move these two knights to clear the straight diagonal. Puzzle 37, more interesting set. You can see that they are connected in one plane. Okay, so the king has to move there. It's gonna change the direction here, and after he reaches there, it's gonna get to the other way. So move there, there we go. Now we have to move the rook to clear a diagonal for the king, and before we can do that, we're gonna block the other portal by moving the knight. Okay, so let's move there. Now let's move the rook, and it will be done. There you go. Puzzle 38. Now things are getting really complicated because there are many different sets here, and you have to change perspective constantly. So this is the first one you have to solve. You have to clear diagonal by moving these knights, and you cannot see it so well, but you have to move the rook to the other part there. There you go. They are connected in the same plane, although they are in different sets. Now I have to clear one diagonal, and the king is gonna move. There you go. That's the first portal. Now I have to solve this second part, this second plane, and this is the connection here. Let's move some of the pieces to clear the diagonal. Okay, on the bishop. And before we can move the last two pieces, let's make some adjustments here. You're gonna have to move the knight all the way to the left, and have to move this rook too to clear way for the final piece, the bishop. Okay, this is square. Okay, let's move the knight, and finally, there you go. This last part is very easy to solve. There are only two pieces on this plane, it's the rook and the knight, and you can see this knight has to move, of course, and the rook too. And you can see there is a connection here. There you go. Puzzle 39. It looks complicated because there are many pieces, but these portals are gonna be useful to solve them. Okay, so there is like an extra ring in one of the portals, and it shows that they go to different places. They are different portals, so I have to move all these pieces to clear a way. First, let's start moving the knight. Okay, and we're gonna use the portal again, so I have to remove that piece. There you go, now it's reusable. Now the second piece we are going to clear away here. The other knight, okay. Now we have only three pieces on the way. Let's start by moving the other piece here. Okay, and that's it. Final puzzle of this video, puzzle 40, and you can see there is a complicated set with many pieces and dark squares and portals in different planes. So let's start moving these. Okay, some free squares. Now remove these, and they can be moved to the portal automatically. Let's change the perspective here. Okay, a more complicated set. This is the path the king can take, and we're gonna use these extra squares here. Okay, so first, rook, and still have to move some of the pieces on the way. That square is right there in the back. Okay, let's start moving. Just a sec. Okay, this piece has to leave. Okay, gone, gone. There we go. We have one last piece on the way. Okay, and the final part, you have to move some of the pieces. There are many possibilities here. The one I recorded involves moving the knights, but you can move the bishops in some solutions. Okay, so let's start moving here. I don't know if you can see, there is a connection of these squares in the same plane. This is the path, okay. The king is gonna come here, go to that square right there in the middle, okay. Just a sec. Okay. Almost clear way, diagonals, and finally, just one more piece. Thanks for watching.